Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liana. Today I'm doing a TV discussion, which I don't have too many of those on my channel, so always good to have another. And I will be discussing Hell Girl or Jigoku Shoujo, and this is of course an anime show, which I'm a pretty big anime fan, as most of you probably know. I did mention this very briefly in my anime tag video. I will link that below in case you want to learn a little bit more about my love for anime. I didn't want to go too into depth about Hellgirl because I knew I wanted to make a separate video on it. So, Hellgirl has 4 separate seasons. As far as I know, the most recent season was the last, but you never really know, especially in the anime world. So season 1 was in October 2005, had 26 episodes. Season 2 was October 2006. It was called Two Mirrors. It also had 26 episodes. Season 3 was October 2008, called Three Vessels, also 26 episodes. And season 4 was just last year in July 2017. That was called Fourth Twilight, and it had 6 new episodes, followed by 6 reminiscence episodes, which were just repeats of former episodes from previous seasons. They did have a little kind of like segment at the beginning, almost paper doll style, which was kind of weird. And I'm not quite sure why they did these episodes. They didn't change them in any way except for those initial opening segments. Yeah, they really didn't serve a purpose, so that was weird. Anyway, the general plot of Hellgirl is that there are rumors around a website called Helllink. Now, Helllink can only be accessed at midnight, and if you have a grudge against somebody, you can type their name into Helllink, and then Hellgirl, Enma, will appear. And she will give you a little straw doll with a little red string around its neck. And she'll tell you that if you really want revenge on this person and you want to send them to hell, all you have to do is untie the string, and you'll enter into the contract with her. However, in doing so, your soul will also be sent to hell. That's only after you die, so she's not going to kill you. Just in the natural course of your life, after you meet your demise, she will send your soul to hell, sort of as payment for I doing her job. So Hellgirl also works with a few different people. She works with Honeana.
So I accidentally mispronounced her name in this video. She also went by the name Soneana at one point, and I kind of messed up and combined the pronunciations. That's my bad. Anyway, her name is Honeona.
Who, like, this roughly translates to bone woman. If you see her in her natural appearance, you'll understand why. She also works with Wan Yu-do, Ichimokuren, Yamawaro, and she kind of works with Kikuri. And you meet all of these characters. Some of them are the ones who get transformed into the straw doll that she uses for her different clients. And some of them are just, her friends who will also take on the guise of normal human beings who interact with the client and their family and friends to kind of figure out, why does this person want to send someone to hell? They kind of investigate on her behalf. So most episodes are standalone. You don't need to watch them in any particular order. There are exceptions to this. So I'll kind of tell you the differences between each season. There are slight story arcs in each season, so I'll kind of go over that, and then I also want to discuss a certain aspect of the show that I find to be really unique, and it's something that I you don't really see in too many other shows. So the first half of season one is absolutely watchable in any order. You don't have to worry about binging it all at once, or you can just kind of pop in and out. And then after you get to the halfway point, there is a little bit of a storyline involving a man named Hajime. Hajime Shibata, who is a writer, he's kind of looking into the whole Hell Link phenomenon. And then he has a daughter. Now, Sugumi, his daughter, has been seeing visions of the different people who are asking Hell Girl to send people to Hell, and she kind of wants to stop it. So she kind of drags her father to each location that she sees in the hopes that they can kind of intervene. Now, it never really works. And at one point, she actually sees Hellgirl. They both do. And Hellgirl gets pretty mad at them. And you kind of get to see how Hellgirl became this entity capable of sending people to hell. In season 2, we find out more about the backstory of Hellgirl's companions. So there are about 3 different episodes dedicated to the backstory. So each one, you have one for Wan Yudo, one for Honeana, and one for Ichimokuren. And you kind of find out like who they were in their past lives. Some of them were not even human, which is kind of interesting. And again, most of the episodes in this season are watchable independently of each other. But there's one episode about halfway in, kind of revolving around a young boy named Takuma, who gets accused of killing his parents because of some stuff that goes on with Hellink. And this doesn't come back until the last about 4 episodes of the season. And you see him again, and the entire town is calling him like the devil's child. And there's a police investigation into him because his mom is dead and his dad is unconscious in the hospital, unable to corroborate his story of the fact that the person who actually killed his mom is gone, was sent to hell right in front of their eyes. And the entire town is like sending everyone to hell and blaming it on this one poor little boy. And it's something else. It's really interesting, actually. You could actually isolate just those episodes and just watch those if you wanted to. It's a self-contained story within 5 or 6 episodes, really. And in the last episode, in order to get this cycle of violence to die, Hellgirl actually comes into the human world because she wants to save this young boy. And she kind of sacrifices herself to the townspeople. The townspeople try to kill her. And she says, you know, with this will die. You're no longer going to try to kill Takuma. You're no longer going to send everybody to hell. There will be peace in this village. And her body kind of just erupts into butterflies. And she kind of dies in another sense. Like she was dead before, but this is almost more finite. And so the start of season 3, she has to sort of possess another body, and because she doesn't have her own. So she possesses a high school student. She possesses a young girl named Yuzuki in order to carry on her duties. You know, Hellgirl still feels like she has a job to do, but because she doesn't have a body, she takes on Yuzuki's form, and so Yuzuki starts having these dreams of the client going to Hellgirl and asking her for help with their grudges. And then when they actually go through with the act of wanting to send someone to hell. She goes through quite a painful transformation to become Hell Girl. I don't know if anybody around her would be able to see this. It might be more of a mental thing, but she feels it physically. And you can see how much pain she's in when this happens. And again, this only carries on for about half of a season, and then Enma is able to regain control of her own physical body and doesn't need Yuzuki anymore. However, the entire plot thread with Yuzuki carries on for the rest of the season. So this is definitely one season where you can't so much get away with just picking and choosing which episodes you want to watch. You kind of have to watch all of them in order. Because even though each client is different from case to case, episode to episode, there's a through line throughout the entire season. And then on to season 4. Season 4, as I said, is very quick. It only has 6 new episodes and then the 6 repeat episodes. And I think of this kind of like an epilogue. Hell Girl finds a young, kind of like lost soul. There's a spirit in the form of a young girl named Michiru, and Michiru has lost her memories. She doesn't know how she died. She doesn't quite know her name at the start either. It kind of just slowly comes back to her. And by the end of it, she's dubbed the new Hell Girl. So that way I can finally go off and have a regular life, so to speak. She's not alive, but you know, she can be at peace. She no longer has to be the ferryman to hell, so to speak, and somebody else can take over her job because she's been at it for centuries, and she finally has a successor. So the one thing about this show that I find so unique and that I wanted to discuss a little bit more is the morality aspect. The idea of sending someone to hell. Now, you have to understand that the majority, not all, but the majority of people getting sent to hell in this show, they're terrible people. And if you believe in a heaven and a hell, then you would believe that these people are going to end up in hell at the end of their lives anyway. So this is really just kind of speeding up the process and getting them there a little faster, kind of saving some people some damage that these people would end up doing to them. So we're talking about blackmailers, pedophiles, murderers, etc. Like really awful people. And is it really, you have to question, is it really such a bad thing to do that? Is it really such a bad thing to send them to hell? Again, if you believe in a hell, I'm kind of like, is there? But yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing, personally. In which case, you also have to question, is it okay to then have the person who's suffering at the hands of that terrible person, like maybe they're a rape victim and they're the ones sending this person to hell, why should they have to pay the ultimate price of going to hell after they die? You could argue that they're murdering somebody, right? They're not the ones getting their hands dirty, but they're asking Hell Girl to kill somebody. And yes, I understand that, but ultimately, many of the people asking Hell Girl to send someone to hell, they're innocent victims. And I'm not sure that I would totally agree with the idea of them having to go to hell as well. They would just end up potentially meeting their abuser or whoever this person is in hell, and getting tortured for eternity. And why? They haven't done anything wrong in their own lives except suffer. And all they did was get rid of somebody causing a lot of harm not only to them but to others. I don't see that as a bad thing, you know, and I don't think that they should be punished. That's my take on it. But I want to hear yours. Now, the flip side is that, like I said, the majority of people getting sent to hell are bad people. There are a few who are good people. I was constantly asking myself, why is Hellgirl okay with sending the good people to hell? Can't she just say no? Can't she refuse? I know I would, but I mean, I don't know the rules, right? From what I understand, she's not supposed to get emotionally attached. That's one thing. The only time that she refused to take somebody to hell was in the case of Takuma, the little boy. She ended up getting about halfway there and turning the boat around and deciding, I can't do this. And she brought him back to the world of the living. That's the only time that she refused. But there was a nurse at a hospital who was a beautiful person and was sent to hell by a random drug addict who I don't think she'd ever had any interaction with. And that's an amazing person being sent to hell for no reason. And she didn't do anything. Hellgirl didn't stop this from happening. And so Hellgirl kind of has a job to do, and she has, I think, a certain amount of jobs before she's released from this duty. But still, I feel like I would want to say something. I would want to intervene. And if she doesn't intervene, then absolutely the person sending these innocent people to hell, they should definitely be the ones getting punished in this scenario. Like the drug addict sending an innocent nurse to hell. Yeah, there's something wrong there. Trying to send an 8 or 10-year-old boy, Takuma, to hell, whoever does that, they need to be punished. There's just so many questions surrounding this, you know, like what's right, what's wrong. And ultimately, there's also another question here. If you had the chance to do this, if you had the chance to send somebody to hell using something like hell, like, would you do it? If you knew that you were going to end up in hell someday too. Because I can definitely think, honestly, I can definitely think of a few people. Some of them in very high positions of power. Wink, wink. So yeah, I mean, I'm leaving you with this. Like, do you think it's murder? The client going to Hellgirl, even though they're not getting their hands dirty, do you think it's considered murder to send somebody to hell via Helllink? Do you think that the innocent person being abused by someone terrible, do you think that sending somebody to Helllink like that, do you think that they deserve to go to hell too? And do you think that Hellgirl should intervene in scenarios where innocent people are being sent to hell? That's what I'm leaving you with. I want to know what you think. So this is a really good show, and if you can find it somewhere legal to watch, then I mean, I would recommend it. There are some disturbing aspects to it. Some of the things that you see on screen, not some It's not so much even the aspect of sending somebody to hell, although some of those scenarios can be quite strange. Um, but the actual abuse that you see on screen, like elder abuse, was featured in one episode. That's quite disturbing. Uh, Seeing an older policeman stalking a teenage girl, that can be disturbing. So if you're sensitive to these sorts of things, I would definitely consider that ahead of time. Maybe this wouldn't be for you. But if you're into the sort of morality struggle, like maybe if you're into a show like Death Note where you have Light, trying to write in his notebook and get rid of bad people, that sort of idea, you might like this. And so that's about it for this discussion. I post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel, usually in the afternoon Eastern time, but I only really post this type of content once every 4 to 6 weeks, just because it takes a little longer for me to get organized. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.